It is Ben from L.A. Welcome to the program, Ben.
Hey, how's it going?
Pretty good. How you doing?
I'm doing all right. I saw you were talking a lot about libertarianism.
Yes.
Yeah. So, what do you not like about the concept?
What do I not like about the concept of libertarianism? Well, that's a pretty broad question. And if you've seen me talk about it, then you probably have a sense. But I think that economic libertarianism is a fantasy land.
So you don't believe in freedom?
What is freedom?
Freedom is the ability to be able to decide what you put in your body and how much of your income tax you control.
So freedom is just a function of your income tax. Is that it?
Yeah, freedom is the right to be able to function in society as an individual.
So it's
there are morals.
Okay, so it's the right to be able to function in society as an individual. So, in other words, you would agree with the idea that we should really have a government-sponsored single-payer health care program so that we are all more free to quit our jobs, more free to not necessarily pursue the pursuit of money to make sure that we stay healthy for ourselves and our children. You would agree with that?
I would agree with that. I believe that's the moral thing to do, and I believe that's the only thing you can do. I think government is only infringing as your rights. And what rights do you have? You have the right to life. And what more than that do you really have?
So wait, so Ben, so you agree with me that we should have basically a single-payer health care program that is government-run?
No, I do not agree with that. I do not agree with any.
Oh, well then, Ben, let me ask you this. Why don't you support freedom? Because I would love to be free to not have to worry about health care. I would love to have health care as a basic right of my existence. Why don't you love freedom?
I want freedom. I think freedom is the responsibility to be able to sustain yourself, and if you can't do that, I'm sorry, that's just part of life.
Oh, really? Really? So you think that if anybody relies on government for anything, they're irresponsible and they're not free.
You're trusting your life with people. I mean,
Ben, do you have diarrhea?
That's part of. Excuse me?
Do you have diarrhea right now?
I do not have diarrhea.
Do you know why you don't have diarrhea, Ben? Because the government makes sure that your water is potable.
I'm sorry?
You don't have diarrhea because the government makes sure that your government makes sure that your water is able to be drank. Do you have a car, Ben?
Well, maybe I'm all right to take the risk of having diarrhea in my water. Maybe that's fine. Maybe that's part of what I see in freedom.
Freedom is the freedom to drink poisonous water and to drink and eat poisonous food. Do you drive,
Freedom
Ben?
is to take chances.
Freedom is to take chances. Do you drive? You drive in L.A.? What highways do you take in L.A.? Highway 5?
I take the 405, the 101.
These federal highways. Why? Why don't you take responsibility for yourself and forge your own roads?
Excuse me?
Why don't you forge your own road? You're relying on the government.
What do you mean? Why don't I just walk everywhere? Because that's impractical.
Oh.
It's impractical that I walk everywhere.
But don't you realize that the government is impinging upon your freedom because it has provided you roads?
That's untrue. I could walk. I can walk everywhere if I want to, so that's part of my freedom. I can do whatever the fuck I want. I don't ever have to leave my apartment if I don't want.
Well, but I'm asking you, you don't need to take advantage of the roads at all. Your apartment. Let's take your apartment.
Absolutely not. I don't need to take advantage of anything that the government gives me. And that's part of living on your own and having your own morals.
Why do you?
And being responsible for yourself.
So you don't have to.
Why do I? Because I think that's the only natural thing. I think that anything else is really infringing on a right as a human being to to be able to go with the natural progress of life. Anything else is infringing on that right.
So anything that you don't need is infringing upon our right, but anything that you use is all part of the whole thing of freedom. But anything you don't need. So for instance, like when you live through an earthquake, have you ever been in a country, in a building during an earthquake that doesn't have building codes?
Yes, I was actually in a very bad earthquake, the Northridge earthquake.
No, but in the
1992, I believe.
The Northridge earthquake was in a country that had building codes. Have you ever been in a place?
Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
I don't understand what you're saying. Could you rephrase
I'm
that?
saying that the building codes that the government imposed upon you, the lack of freedom that the builders had to build a cheap building probably saved your life if you were in a building during that earthquake.
Well, I mean, what are you talking about? Architecture has nothing to do with government. I think without government, we can still figure out how to build a building. We don't need the government to step in on something like that. And I don't think that's relative at all.
So you're not familiar of, let's say, like earthquakes that take place in countries. Where's that? Oh well, Haiti is a great example.
There are bad earthquakes.
Yeah,
I mean,
but I mean, for instance, in Haiti,
that's
for
part of life.
instance,
That's part of what happens in the real world.
No, you see, you don't live in the real world.
And obviously,
Ben, you live in a fantasy world where
what is the real world? You live in a fantasy world with all this government having rules and restrictions on your right of life. And really, what are you? You're an individual, and you live your own life. So what is all this other stuff? It's all man-made.
See, that's what I'm talking about with libertarians. See, Ben here is refusing to acknowledge the fact that building codes make a difference when an earthquake hits. You know, in Haiti, there are no building codes. And you know what happens if you...
they certainly do make a difference. Can I just state that I am not disputing the fact that building codes do make a difference. But in the real world, the truth is there's not always going to be building codes. In the real world, shit like that happens.
I don't even know really how to respond to what you're saying, because I understand the words that you're saying, but when you put them together in the way that you're saying them, it means nothing. There is, listen, Haiti is in the real world. Ben, hold on for 1 second. Ben, hold on 1 second. Haiti is in the real world, and the United States is in the real world. When an earthquake hits Haiti, because the government has not imposed building codes, the buildings fall and people die. Because in the United States, because in the United States there are building codes, when an earthquake hits, the buildings have much less of a chance of falling and much less people die. That's the real world, Ben. Now, do you feel that building codes impose on our freedoms?
No, but what I was saying is that I don't believe that you need the government in order to build buildings correctly. I think that's part of architecture, not government.
Well, of course it's part of architecture, but do you know that it's cheaper, Ben? Are you aware that it's cheaper and more profitable? It's cheaper and more profitable to build a building that is not sustainable in an earthquake. That is why in places like Haiti, where there are not strict building codes, people do it that way.
And that is the real world. That's the real world. That's what's going to happen. I mean, a free market society means the truth is that some people are going to be on top. I mean, there's no illusion that a libertarian society is an ideal society. Obviously, there are problems.
So why would we want
better than the alternative?
Why would you want? Do you think that people in Haiti feel more free than people in America? Do you think that they are more free because they are out from under that scourge of building codes?
I don't think there is real freedom in America.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. You think that we're living under a tyrannical government because of things like building codes?
No, that's not my main fight when it comes to why I'm against the way the government is. Okay, there's a lot more things, such as the right is what you have to put in your body, what percentage of your income tax. Those are two of my main things.
Well, tell me
that I
something.
have
What
a problem
percentage?
with
What
these steps.
percentage of your income should go to taxes? What is the
I don't
most
think any of your
free?
income should go to taxes.
None. Okay. So
I don't think there should be an income tax. I
don't-
think you're responsible for your own. You have to hold your own in the society. We're all individuals. And
So do you think there should be a fire
to rely
department?
on the government to tell us what to do?
Do you think there should be
how to spend our
Ben,
money?
do you think there should be a fire department?
I think that in a free market society, it's not like there wouldn't be a fire department. I mean, people still have order. There would still be like government on the local level. And there would still be a fire
how much
department.
would you pay for your fire protection?
Well, if I was in the position to do it, I would still have a fire department, okay? I don't think that's really related to a lot of the other things that we're talking about.
What services would you cut? What services in your life would you
I would cut
no
the
highways,
Department
right?
of Commerce,
No highways. What is the Department of Commerce?
Education.
What does the Department of Commerce?
Energy.
What does the Department of Energy do?
The Department of Commerce.
Well, wait. Let me ask a question about the Department of Energy. How would you take care of our nukes?
Well, Ron Paul, I'm not trying to advocate Ron Paul or anything, but in his campaign, he has spoken about this, and his plan is that he would eliminate the Department of Commerce, but the nuke department of the Department of Energy, he would translate that into a different sector that he would work on. So I think that's a good idea.
Right. And what does the Department of Commerce do? What's its budget?
The Department of Commerce it's about the economy. I don't know the budget.
Well, I mean, surely,
I don't know.
surely. I mean, if this is such an oppressive tool, surely, you know, right? I mean, you're not just speaking out of your behind on this.
No, I mean, there's a lot of things that need to get cut, and I think we need to start with the Department of Education. I mean, there's a lot of college loans. We're spending $25,000 on average on college students to go to college. It's all about entitlement, you know?
Right. All right. Well, listen, Ben, I appreciate
it.
your perspective on this. I mean, I really do. Obviously, if you're lucky, you'll be able to convince the rest of the American public that we should turn into Haiti. If you're not, you're going to
I'm
continue.
sure a lot of people don't agree with me. A lot of people really don't like the Libertarians.
Yeah.
I think a lot of them don't understand us.
Yeah, it's hard. It
And I
really
think
is
that's
hard.
okay.
Yeah, I think that's okay too.
I think that's okay because it sets us apart.
All right, fair enough, dude. I appreciate the call. You're definitely a breed
All right.
apart. Thanks. Thanks for calling.
Have a good one.
You too. You know, I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. Every time a libertarian calls in, why do you have a problem with libertarianism? They simply edify and reiterate my position. Yes, you can be a breed apart if you want to be a libertarian. That's fine.
I mean, this guy has to be like 6'8", 385 pounds for him to want to just live in this society where everyone just fends for themselves. I mean, how can you not be like some huge, tough, strong person?
Well, I could tell you how. You are living in a fantasy world that will never occur. And so you don't need any of the things you're talking about. Because just in the same way that he doesn't have to come up with a way of surviving an earthquake in a building he's living in without building codes, because he knows it will never happen. It is the most convenient fantasy world to live in, being a libertarian. It's just as simply a way for you to go out and mentally masturbate on everything. That's all it is. It is mental masturbation. It is exactly like the idea where Rand Paul said, I am going to vote against extending the debt limit. Why? Because I know we still will vote, we will extend the debt limit. Period. That's what a libertarian is. Someone who just wants to basically pull their weenie out and whip it around. I'm different. I have no solutions really in the real world, but if we were living in a fantasy world,